I'm an animator, and that means two things. I don't go outside, and I don't have friends. That wouldn't usually be too much of a problem, at least until you shoved me into a room with 200 other people. Then, things get a little awkward. So, what better way to get over trauma than to make bad jokes and post it on the internet? Don't get me wrong, I love meeting people. I am not an introvert. I love being the center of attention. As a kid, I was always the one starting conversations with strangers regardless of whether they wanted to talk or not. And before May of last year, I was pretty sure I was still that same kid. Confident, friendly, charismatic, good-looking. I was gonna be great. Presbytery was a gathering of around 300 people from churches nationwide to talk about churchy things and fun stuff for the kids who didn't want to be in meetings all day. Plenty of kids my age, all of whom I was encouraged to talk to. The first families arrived early, so I could talk to them one-on-one before the whole thing became overwhelming. But I didn't. Instead, I just stood next to Asher and let him talk about the prank we had planned for that weekend, which is how I met Katie, Michael, Paige, and Rachel. So, are y'all going to dance on Friday? Never in a million years. That looks fun. I want to do that. If I get asked, you will. Trust me. And fast forward to when the event started. I was pretty confident in my ability to communicate with other humans. I mean, surely I hadn't changed that much since I was 6, right? So I walked up to this group of teenagers who all looked exactly the same, no joke. Blah, 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 I didn't bring my recorder. Huh, this girl plays the recorder. You played the recorder once. Wait a minute. You have something to add to this conversation? And so I say, oh yeah, I had a recorder once when I was like 4. And then it's just silence. That's when I started to panic. What if these girls go to the same church and this is a private conversation? What if they're sisters? Maybe they're thinking I'm a weirdo because I don't know them and they don't know me and I just tried speaking with them. Or maybe they just didn't hear. Yep, I did the single worst thing I could have done in that moment. I repeated myself. One girl turns around, looks at me like, "What are you doing?" And then continues the conversation, completely ignoring what I just said. There are a few issues with this response. 1, I didn't like it. 2, it made me want to cry. 3, I felt short. So I turned my train of thought to something else. There were a bunch of younger kids playing Gaga Ball, so I just watched them while deciding my next course of action. Teenagers are scary. And mean. And scary. At least little kids like me. So, finding myself surrounded by little kids, I decided to introduce myself to one of them. Hi, I'm IU. What's your name? I'm Rachel, but I met you already. I'm not sticking around for that to get more awkward. Over the next week, it became harder and harder to meet new people. I was chosen last for volleyball, and then rejected again and again and again. And before I knew it, it was Friday, the dance, the culmination of the whole event. Asher's prank was in motion. He was going to steal the mic and make everyone do the hokey pokey. But it failed. As the guy with the mic was about to give it to Asher to test, "No, don't give it to him! He's gonna do the hokey pokey!" And then they didn't give it to him. This betrayal was heart-wrenching. Not only had I managed to make very few friends in the past week, but the one that I thought I'd made completely betrayed us. You're being kind of melodramatic. No, that's exactly how it happened. So the dance started without a good hokey pokey to kick it off. They were all obscure English country group dances, but I didn't know any of the dances, which I thought might be problematic, but I was dead wrong. As people were picking their partners, I stood in the middle of the room. Girls left and right were getting asked. In the space of 5 seconds, every girl around me seemed to get asked, including my sister. Isabel was asked by 5 guys if she'd dance with them, and she flatly refused every single one. And then the dance started, and it was just like it was so many years ago, except this time I didn't have the, "Well, you're 5 years old. What'd you expect?" to console me. I just had the, "Oh, that's too bad."